We're live. Hello.
Oh, hey everybody.
Hi.
Welcome to Nerdlog episode 3. So exciting.
My
We're
God.
gonna be talking about some really neat stuff today. Let me make sure I got Twitch up. How's it going, chat? Oh, we're still lacking, so we're still in oh, I got raided over to Ruby Galaxy. I don't want to raid Ruby Galaxy. I want to be here.
No, don't do that.
All right. We're not ready. Oh my gosh, this setup looks so good.
Thank you.
Ah, I love the background. I love my pixelated rocket.
I
We got
I
some
ha-
people we got some people following. That's great.
yeah, I stepped up last minute, threw something together. Green screen. No one's really prepared for the girl with the green screen, but here we are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Nobody expects it. Hold on. I gotta turn my neon on. Then we'll be ready to go. We got Devin Cheevers with us, talking about incident intelligence, talking about AI ops, some really cool stuff. We actually have three people we're going to talk about various ways to get like more intelligence on what uh, our monitoring is trying to tell us, trying to alert us about.
Yeah. Devin, you're muted.
Okay,
Oh,
turning
hey.
four lights on.
Oops, sorry.
Whoops.
At least I didn't send out the actual Google commands to
Oh my God, that would have been so
everybody's
funny.
audio. But you know. All right. So, Devin, let me get I have a whole sheet of questions here. Let me just get them up in front of me because I don't have them up because that's just how today's going.
That's called
Uh,
doing
we
it live.
we poured water on a computer. We didn't have our audio working. We closed the call. This is just the last piece of all that.
You know,
So,
this
so
is
Devin, welcome to the show. Tell me what we're looking at today.
I'm going to give you a quick demo of a new feed that we have in the Alerts and AI product.
Uh
It's
huh.
going to show you anomalies across your various applications. I can jump right in now if you want.
Well, I guess just to start with though, like when we say anomalies, what I mean, like if I saw a green cat, I'd know that's an anomaly. But in sort of the industry world, I don't like is that like a new relic term? Is that like a general concept of like looking at anomalies?
Oh, that's a rabbit hole. But
Oh.
for the world of New Relic and for our customers, I think the way that we generate anomalies and the thing that we're going to look at today is focused specifically on your apps, your metric data coming out of your applications, and specifically three of the golden signals:
Uh-huh.
throughput, error rate, and latency. And this anomalies feed will give you an overview of what's happening across those three signals and focused on apps.
Gotcha. All right, let's go take a look.
Okay, sweet. So you're on your homepage here in New Relic One. You're going to navigate over to the alerts and AI section of the product. You'll land here on the overview section, and it kind of does what it sounds like. It'll give you an overview of what's happening throughout your system specific to issues, incidents, and anomalies. Anomalies are the things that we're focused on today. So, like I mentioned, they're going
So
to. Go ahead.
like yeah, like my understanding is, you know, obviously New Relic is very good at alerting you about stuff that you knew about ahead of time, like to be worried about, right? Like not to put us in a time machine back to 2012, but like if we're monitoring like the available memory on a server, right? We can say, hey, email me if we start running out of memory, right? So of course New Relic's very good at anything that we can predict in the future, but all of this is about detecting things that look wrong that we did not set up ahead of time, that we did not go in and manually configure. We're able to say something about, hey, this looks way off, not because you pre-configured an alert, but because we're detecting that there's a problem. Let me know if I got that wrong.
No, that's good. Yeah, that's pretty apt. You do have to right now go in and select applications that you care about, but
Yeah.
that's really the configuration. There's not a huge amount of there's nothing else actually. You don't set any thresholds. You don't have to do any sort of tuning. So here, for example, this is our Demotron environment. For folks who have watched some of these streams, I'm sure you've seen it before. We have various apps that power this Acme telco company. And what you're looking at here is the last 3 days of anomalies. I think this visualization up here is pretty cool because like pretty quickly you can see, look, you've got purple and you've got blue. So that's telling you You've had some error rate issues, which are probably things you should pay attention to. And then you've had some changes in throughput, web throughput specifically. That may or may not be as interesting, but just this visualization here, I think, is pretty powerful. The stack bar chart is something you might not see in other parts of NR1 just yet. So we're pretty happy about that. The other obvious question I'm sure you have if you're watching is, okay, I can see all my anomalies. Like, how do I scope it down to things that I actually care about? We've got this little filter ability here, which is pretty cool. The one that's my favorite is the ability to scope to configurations. So you may have a bunch of folks across different teams that are configuring apps or selecting groups of apps under a single configuration that they care about. So I could go here and say, like, let's look at this Acme telco demo configuration. Just show me any anomalies generated by any of the apps for that configuration in the last 3 days. And you've got...
Yeah, this was kind of my first question when I said, hey, we're going to find anomalies. Now, it's great that you can say that it sort of doesn't tell you about it until you said you even care about this application, right? Like, I don't, I love sort of the concept, but I don't want to get message that, Dave's sandbox server is running out of memory. Like, I don't want everybody to get woken up in the middle of the night about that. So that makes sense. But there's still a certain point where, yeah, like filtering is key, right? Because, hey, your Angular app that serves, Barcelona pizza restaurants and your, iOS app for, people in China who want to sell magnets, right? Like, saying, oh, they're both suffering high throughput. It's like, okay. The filtering is the most basic human thing to say by configuration. Is like, hey, I know that these people are somehow, these services are somehow interlinked, and that, yeah, does seem kind of critical.
Yeah, the cool thing for proactive detection as well is that you can actually set it up so that you only have your anomalies written to NRDB. That means they'll show up in your dashboards. That means they'll show up here in this feed, but you don't actually have to even send them to Slack or Webhook if you don't want to.
So that's like you're aware of them, but you're not saying, hey, you actually have to get your phone has to buzz. You have to, get notified.
Yeah, and I think that's the way we're thinking about these anomalies today, is very much that they're more informational or more warnings than something that you'd want to get paged on, depending on the type of app and depending on the types of anomalies you're actually configuring. But you do have the option to alert on them if you want as well. One other thing I'd call out from the feed, which is maybe not as obvious in the UI, but is super cool, is like, if you, oops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. If you want to interact with one of these anomalies, so let's say 38 minutes ago, billing service had an error rate anomaly. So you're like, that seems important. You can just click on the anomaly and we'll pull up analysis page. That's going to give you the anomaly chart here. And then it's going to give you some pretty cool explanatory functionality. So this key attributes will give you some suggestions as to attributes that could be explanatory. In this case, it's a little trickier because of the way we're generating the failure mode in our demo environment.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing about like live demoing and trying to like simulate failures, right? Is that when we simulate failures, sometimes you sort of take your chances about what's happened recently in your demo environment, what we can show. But it is like super key, right? When we say, hey, the database is taking a long time to come back, right? Maybe you have 25 people who work in some way on your DB layer, right? So just saying database bad, like is not super helpful. It'd be so nice to be able to say, hey, when you send with these attributes, it comes back crazy slow, right? And so that then maybe if they're responding with, hey, here's the average response time, it's fine, right? You can say, well, I think in this example, I was just, glancing at it, but something like, hey, if the user ID is null, then it takes 10 minutes to respond, right? Oh, now we can maybe actually get somebody kind of interested that we have a problem.
Yeah, totally. Oh no, a bug, another bug. My bad. Look at that.
We love breaking stream.
Now it's
dashboards on stream, just like how I did yesterday. I completely broke the dashboard on stream.
I loved that one. I was no help at all. It's amazing.
No, we're just going to ignore that bug. And then the other thing, which we talked about in our prep for this, but I wanted to highlight for everyone on the stream, is that you can interact with this chart or the stack bar chart as well and zoom in, which there's not a ton of anomalies here, but it's still pretty cool because this is 3 days worth of data. Let's say you're kind of come in and you're like, I want to look at yesterday, you can just zoom in and it will scope super nice to the time. And that can be really powerful, obviously, if you have a ton of anomalies or you're just like, I remember yesterday morning or whatever. I want
Yeah,
to look
especially
into that.
someone, on whatever incident response is saying, well, when did stuff deploy, right? And you can at least just drag and scope to like, well, okay, let's assume it's after this deployment, right? And not, it wasn't caused by something bad, by a time machine. So
And
let's
that's
at
so
least look at
helpful.
what that time region is. Yeah. Yeah, and I really like the ability to like highlight, seeing like pretty quickly, like here's what's going on in this chart. Like, error rate looks like okay, this is sort of kind of normal behavior, right? It's like you have some cluster of errors, something like that, fascinating. But both that web throughput, like that looks way off, right? Like it sort of points itself out as that is maybe indicative. All right, back to my questions. I have all these questions written down. Have I asked you any of them? No. uh Covering in time. That was a good thing. So I'm curious. I kind of mentioned that one of the things I would think I would scope by is like geography, like region. And you were saying that's a little bit off base for like what we're doing. But I guess it's possible if you make some kind of custom configuration.
Yeah, right now, really the configuration, which again is you go in, you select apps you care about, and you name it. It's a group of apps. Think of it as just a
Right.
grouping. You could go in and say, hey, this is my EU set of apps or
Oh yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, as long as you've done it beforehand, which probably makes sense, right? It's like we don't want it to be just like where's the IP geo. We want to be able to say, hey, these are all region linked in some way, right?
exactly. Yeah.
I know in the ideal world, we keep all of our stuff in separate accounts, and staging is its own account and test is its own account, but sometimes it doesn't quite always work out that way. So if someone's kind of a new user, either they're new to New Relic or they are using New Relic, but they're really, all of this interface is looking like just stuff they have not seen before. Do you have recommendations for kind of how they would start dipping a toe into these AI tools and trying it out for the first time?
Yeah, great question. I would definitely try and pick some applications for proactive detection to get this feed populated that have a decent amount of throughput. Um, that's just the one thing we've noticed in terms of onboarding is low throughput apps tend to be a little bit noisier. You have
Right.
another option where you can just say, I don't want throughput anomalies or just something that actually I don't particularly pay attention to in general. I just
Yeah.
want you to tell me when the response time or latency is up or when the error rate is up. So that would be the biggest thing in terms of just the app selection. And don't be afraid. You've got a really generous free tier right now, and the configuration takes seconds. It's super easy. You can play around with it. Again, you can just write it to NRDB if you want. You can send it to a webhook or a Slack channel as well if you'd like. And we'd love your
Yeah, that's
feedback.
often I always encourage people to like start by testing there, like create a Slack channel that no one else sees and just start sending stuff there and sort of saying, hey, you know, what sort of information would this be? And then looking at tuning that and coming from there. And the low throughput thing is kind of critical. Like it might seem like, your machine should be able to, tell like, oh, this thing is so low throughput that it doesn't matter that response rate just doubled, or, you send it 5 requests and it's like, oh my God, your error rate just quintupled. Like we got to alert you. But, but by the same token, I have seen many applications that are very critical, often with like very long running processes where they're only getting, 1 request an hour, and they are that important. And you really do want a warning like, hey, this thing just went from 1 request an hour to 5 requests an hour. And so, for that service, that might actually be a sensible thing to do. But yeah, if you're just kind of testing it out and it's something that only gets hit, twice a day, obviously it's going to be very hard to not see almost every behavior as some kind of anomaly on that system.
Like something like if I were implementing a login screen and got all my friends to sign up for it, that would be like a perfect use case.
That'd be a big spike in throughput. Yeah.
Huge spike in throughput.
Yeah.
So that's
you're getting notified right when you said something upsetting on Twitter, and a bunch of people clicked on your bio.
Yeah.
so, so really that's it from the feed. I think you've got your apps you can scope to. Configuration category is obviously the different anomaly types. I do find when I talk to customers, what they really like about this kind of view is they have it. Some of the customers have it up just on a screen. They like to just have it as something they can look at throughout the day. And then for other customers, it just really helps give a sense of the state of the system over the week or the month. And we're hoping other folks can use this and get that kind of value. And we'd love your feedback, obviously.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I'm making a note of this because we're sharing this on the blog. For those of you following along in chat, the Nerdlog from last week is up on the blog. So if you want to watch last week's, it's going up now. So just writing down the things I actually want to talk about. Yes, thank you, Mia.
We have a question actually from the chat saying we have integration with ServiceNow. How meaningful will the alerts when sent via AI?
Oh, we're actually going to get a little further into like integrated alerts, I think, from Nate, like next. So, God, what a nice setup. Thanks for teeing me up. I apologize. The color is making it impossible for me to read your username, so I apologize.
Priyam Mahajan. I can't read. I can't read.
Hey, good effort, sort of. Before we let you go, though, Devin, we want to let you get your submarine and go off to AI land. But do you have stuff to plug? Do you have a TikTok feed that people need to check out? Do you have an adorable dog on Instagram that you want people to see?
Wow, I am 3 strikes there. No TikTok, no dog, and whatever the other one was. I have a bit of
Twitter?
a ghost there. No, I'm a ghost even there.
LinkedIn?
Well, LinkedIn, sure. I have to kind of have to do that.
Everyone's seeing this. Do not friend Devin on LinkedIn. Like most software people, we do not want.
No, but I plug my product. The team, we're working hard on it. We have some more stuff coming this month. That's going to be fun. Every month, obviously, we're trying to improve the product, and I think you'll hear from Nate, you hear from Brian. We're all working hard to make alerting and AI better because I know it's a big part of your. Hopefully not too big a part of your 3 a.m.s, but you probably have some early mornings, some of you, that we're trying to make less stressful as possible.